Hey everyone, welcome to this video where we just want to ask you a simple question. Has your significant other ever threatened to break up with you? Maybe when you're fighting. We basically want to go over why they do that because there's three primary reasons why in a committed relationship, one of you will threaten to break up. And if you're the person who has done this historically, then maybe some of these ideas resonate with you or some of these reasons.
Yeah, that's like a huge thing that drives me crazy too.
Yeah.
Threatening the relationship is like not a good long-term strategy.
Yeah.
But we do things regardless, right?
Yeah, I mean, we aren't always rational creatures, and and there's a reason why people threaten relationships, and it's usually not because they actually want the relationship to end. Because if they did,
they would have left.
It would have ended already, right? But if they're threatening the relationship, or especially if they're doing it regularly, then it's probably there's another reason other than they actually want the relationship to end. There's again the top three reasons why they do it. And the first one is it's a power play.
Yep, they feel like you hold too much power in the relationship, and that could be like sexual market value, like if you're a higher ranked partner, and that could be through resources or aesthetically. They will try to grab power and see how much you mean to them or something, right?
Yeah,
they want to see.
Yeah, they want
to see that they are valuable.
Yeah, they want to do it because it gives them power. If they are the ones who threaten to leave, then it puts the other person in a position of saying, like, oh shit, they're gonna leave, and then that other person might stop being whatever they're doing. Like if they're fighting, the other person might give up on the fighting and be like, no, 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 I'm sorry. It gives the person threatening it the power, right? Obviously, this one can backfire. If you're like doing it to try and get power and the other person's like, bye, let me help you out the door. Well, first of all, that would be a red flag in the relationship. But it could also, but it could also be another power play. And that's the thing with these situations is they can be hard to deduce because maybe if they recognize that you're just doing it to try and like get power over them, they could do it right back, and saying bye and not reacting the way you want is just another way to try and pull the power back into their court.
Yeah, and power plays in relationships, yes, they're natural, but they're not, that's not how you have a long-term healthy relationship.
No.
So when I describe these things, like online, I talk a lot about power plays lately. It's not to say that we don't do them ever.
Yeah.
Right?
They're normal.
They're normal, but they're not ideal in a long-term relationship, and we need to be
aware.
Not
healthy. They're not healthy, right? They're normal, but they aren't healthy. They're just one of those things that we do intrinsically because they tend to work. And they're quick, they're easy, they get us what we want, but they are not good for our long-term relationship health.
It's like toddler behavior.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a little kid throwing a fit, right?
Not ideal.
Yeah. So the next reason why someone might threaten a relationship is simply because they're naturally confrontational or emotionally unstable. And this one isn't so much them trying to get power. It's more so that they just don't really know what they want. And it's like doing that can either end whatever argument is causing frustration in them, or it can hurt the other person, or it could give them an out.
The question here, like, if this is the root of what is going on, do you really want to be in a relationship with someone that is emotionally unstable?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. And I think that there needs to be like an overarching theme, right?
Yeah.
Like it has to be like personality disorder for me to be like, nope, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so that one's less common, but it does happen. And
I wouldn't say it's less common. I mean, look at all the woke people. They all have like personality disorders too. And we're seeing it like everywhere.
Yeah, well, true. Okay, well, anyway, number 3 is because needs aren't getting met. And this one
I would say is the most frequent.
Yeah, and
out of all of them. And it's the lack of communication.
I would argue too, this one probably happens in relationships that have made it over the first couple years. because people become complacent the longer that they're in relationships, right? And so basic needs that were getting met in the beginning might no longer be getting met.
And the person might not know how to communicate that because they don't know, I guess, what they're feeling. They just know that they feel very uncomfortable in the relationship.
Yeah, they're anxious and stressed, but they might not be able to identify why. And so in this case, threatening to end a relationship unless the other person does something different is fundamentally, it's them communicating that their basic needs aren't getting met. But it's also a really poor way to communicate that, because it's not necessarily the other person's fault if they don't know what those needs are.
Yeah, but that's not always the case either, because just look at men and women dynamics. Like sometimes women say stuff relentlessly, and men just like tune. And I don't say that like as a sexist thing, but men just tune out. Like they hear you, but they're not listening. And I know all women that are listening to this right now know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I write stuff down because he won't hear me.
Oh, well.
Or he will hear me, he won't listen.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If I'm like reading, now I have to defend myself.
No, I think it's just intrinsic in men. Like I've never met a man that does not do this. So, and I don't think they purposely do this. So I don't think it's always a lack of communication is what I'm saying. I think that it's maybe a lack of like looking them in the eyes and making sure they hear you.
Yeah, like treat your man like a child.
No, do not do that.
Basically,
don't do that. You will ruin your sex life.
Just make sure that they are listening to you. Don't be like in the other room talking to them, and because they might go off and do their own thing and not realizing that you're talking.
You're speaking.
And then you get upset because they didn't hear you. It's like, I was like on the other side of the house. Yes, I might have migrated over there in the middle of you talking, but that's beside the point, right?
Oh my God, that happens. We laugh at it, but it happens in a lot of relationships, and so you just have to be aware of it. That would be the number one, I think, cause of people threatening to leave is when their needs aren't being met. Like men will threaten the relationship if their sexual needs aren't being met. That's something that you need to be aware of as women, and they feel really weird, like I think bringing it up, because women are very busy in like raising kids and taking care of the house. And so men might feel like shameful about bringing up that desire that they have. And so when you're arguing about the dishes, then they threaten to leave you. Mm-hmm. And it might just be like something like their sexual needs aren't getting met. So I think
you covered it really good.
Okay, perfect.
Anyway, so that was the point of this video, was we just wanted to cover something that does happen rather frequently in relationships, and it's threatening to end the relationship. And there's three primary ways or reasons why this happens. It's a power play, it's due to emotional instability, or needs aren't getting met. So it's important that you work with your partner to identify, why this is coming up. And then that way you can work to fix it, right? Awareness is the first step.
Yep.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So if you like the content of this video, then great. That's what we're trying to do. Maybe share this video with someone who you think this information could help. Give the video a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.